And we're back on the big mountain.
Welcome back to another live episode on a special night. Because this time yesterday, I was flying back from Vegas through Dallas and then back here to Pennsylvania.
Welcome back, JY.
It was a heck of a trip. We'll get to that at the end. I got a couple picks we'll throw up. You can ask me some questions. Dwellers can ask me whatever questions they want. I am wearing a new Wyoming Cowboy shirt that I got in the student store on campus of University of Wyoming. And I'm also wearing a Tarleton State hat that I got from my friends down in Tarleton State University. And Steve, before we go any further, we've got something very important to do. Dweller Brews.
I love it.
Let's crack the first one, and I'll talk about the other ones.
Okay.
So a new one we have tonight is from Blacktooth Brewing Company, the Golden Ale for the Wyoming Cowboys. Let's crack that open, Steve-O. Oh my! Oh, I was a little behind you.
Yeah.
Cheers, brother.
Use your manly fingers.
I broke a nail.
Oh no!
And you know the best part about this, I was singing the song. I think on was it last week or 2 weeks ago? And at the very top, in heaven there is no beer. That's why we drink it here. The first half. It doesn't continue on. But yes, cheers everyone. Tell us if you're drinking a Dweller Brew or any brew, what your brew is for this evening. But I was so fortunate. I went to the Blacktooth Brewing Company in both Laramie and in Cheyenne.
Okay.
And picked it up from the brewery itself. And it's a beaut, Clark. It's a beaut.
Yeah. This is pretty good. It's a golden ale, but to me it tastes like it's a little darker than golden, but it looks golden.
I don't know. It's in a can.
Good. I like it.
I did get a draft of it because they had it on tap, and I'm like, well, I got to get it on tap.
Yeah.
At 11 a.m. or whatever.
Why
that guy
not?
was there. Because that's what you do in Wyoming. So anyway, there's that one that we're drinking. That one will go up onto the shelf here for next week. And then also, we have another one later on. I'm not going to talk about the other one. I did get another one while I was out there, but we're going to leave that one hush-hush for the time being. But I was able to get the Tarleton State brews. These were very drinkable, very easily attainable during the football game. Unfortunately, not as easily attainable when I was in Fort Worth.
Oh.
So I had to bring the empty cans with me.
Yeah.
And I apologize, Steve, because the whole plan was to have these suckers to crack open.
Yeah.
And I didn't have time to go back from Fort Worth to Stephenville just to get a few beers because I was at a conference. But anyway, there they are.
So next year when you do your big trip, we need to get you a big cargo van. We'll get it wrapped in the TBM colors. And you can just we'll get it refrigerated.
That's
you
right.
just pick up cases of beer everywhere you go.
I could do that. So the first one here, Steve, and I think this one's like super cool. So this is Revolver Brewing. It's a blonde ale, similar to a lot of what we've had. We've had golden ales, blonde ales, and it tasted like a good blonde ale. They actually Revolver had a brew truck within the tailgate area, and they were just giving out brews for free because that's what they do in Texas.
You know, so brewed for cow. This is back to the
you're going back to the yeah.
I love it. It's brewed for cowboys.
That's right.
And it says he's a highfalutin, rootin' tootin' son of a gun from old Wyoming. That's pretty cool.
I agree. And it's the gold and brown and brown and gold, and that's how we roll. But anyway, back to the Revolver. It's the Texan Rider, and I looked for this sucker everywhere in Fort Worth, thinking that I could easily get it. And they had the Revolver Brewing, but they didn't have the Texas Rider. But it is brewed in Granbury, Texas, which is like halfway in between Fort Worth and Stephenville.
So when I was watching your Tarleton videos,
yes.
One of the coolest parts, and I did not know that they actually do this, where the rider came out and did like a full loop around the field.
He went for it.
Yeah, he was fast. And there's like people standing like 2 feet from where he was, and he just did a little spinny-roo, came back.
And that is now they used to hire somebody to do it. That is now a student within the rodeo program.
Yeah.
So the Texan Rider, is now a student for Tarleton State. And yeah, he went the whole way around the field, and he went down the middle, down the gut, and did a little dancey dance thingy.
Yeah.
Did the horse, and and then I went to Wyoming. They have a horse rider too, but he goes straight out the gut, and down into the other corner. Where the Texan guy, he did a whole dance,
the whole loopy and everything.
For sure.
Good horsemanship there.
He did a great job, and so this includes 4 times the malts and 2 times the hops, which I'm down with because I'm a malt guy, not so much a hop guy. And then the other one here is a lager, Steve, which we don't have too many lagers. Yeah. This one was harder to find. This one I only got inside the stadium when I was in the president's booth. But this is the States Up Texan Lager, and it was very good. This is by Maverick Brewing Company, and that is in Stephenville, Texas. Okay. I'm pretty sure Maverick's is a smaller brew company than Revolver, and then of course it's got States Up, and that's the state of Texas,
right?
And Stephenville's right there on the knuckle.
Gotcha.
That's how they do that.
That's very cool.
So anyway, we had to start with the most important thing, and that is 3 new Dweller Brews that you will see on the up there next week.
Our shelf is expanding.
It is. I have doubles, so we'll have to remove the doubles once we, again, continue to expand. And we have another one for next week. Another shout out to our good friend, who's also now in our Discord, Sierra Nevada Sam, for really getting this all going. And it's been pretty awesome since then. So, okay, we're going to get to picks, but let's throw up the stats first. We're just kind of humming along, kind of where we've been all week or all year, just kind of doing okay. I'll give a shout out to JEH. I believe, what is it, ABKB? What are you making for dinner? Oh, he was asking JEH. JEH is making a Korean dish. He's on dinner duty tonight. Big Mama's in the house. We've got Tyler in the house. We've got Hard Rockin', Mike the Michael. And there's a game. UTSA is up on Tulane, 17-6. That's a great time for me to say we just recorded a new G6 power ranking. We did that tonight, so it'll be out on Friday. I don't like dropping things on Fridays just because it's Friday. But that one's going to be dropped on Friday because we got to get out before the weekend.
It's not super long. It's just a nice little touch on G6 teams, before the weekend.
All right, so there's the stats. You can see them. You can say yay or nay or whatever it is. Steve, you did 2 weeks ago. I know I didn't get this up last week, but 2 weeks ago you had a good lock week.
Yes.
Last week, not so much of a lock week, so you're still hovering right there. You just can't get over that 50% hurdle. Mm-hmm. I thought maybe last week, you were going to get there, and we just didn't quite get there yet. But I know you got some tonight, so this might be the week where the locks take off.
Got quite a few tonight.
I love it. So, all right. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go. Big Ten picks first. Rock and roll.
Let's roll right into the Big Ten. Out the gate, which should be a really big game every year. Maybe isn't quite as big of a game this year. Mm-hmm. Penn State traveling to Columbus to play in the shoe, taking on Ohio State. Ohio State is only a 20.5 point favorite. I was a little surprised at that. I think Vegas is kind of given no matter what these two teams are. Even years that Penn State is not so good, they usually give Ohio State a big fight. So I think that's what they're going with here. I just don't know this year, if they're capable of that. They played a little bit better this last week before their bye, but against Iowa, but they still came up short. So I'm taking Ohio State to cover the 20.5 points.
Okay.
I think it's probably going to be closer to 30 points. Most likely, unless Penn State can just pull a miracle. Yeah. They did lose after they lost Drew Aller, their starter, a while back. Well, in the last game they also lost Jackson Smolik, who was then the backup quarterback. Okay. So they basically have their starter, and then Grunkemeyer, their starter, and then their backup now is a walk-on who's never gotten any playing time as far as I know.
Wow. Okay.
So. A little worried about that for Penn State. So, anyways, I'm taking Ohio State to cover the 20.5 points, and it's my first Big Mountain ice cold lock of the week.
20.5 Ohio State to cover versus Penn State. And I remember you saying, not to bring back old memories, but it was the Oregon game when you said something along the lines of, if they can't win this game, I'm just not sure I can. Or maybe it was the Northwestern game. And you kind of just said, hey, this is it. I'm either going to turn the tide on them. I'm going to pull the Band-Aid off.
Yep.
Or we're going to keep riding them, and you've clearly pulled the Band-Aid.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They've pulled the Band-Aid off.
Well, yes, right.
Everyone's
yes.
pulled
Everybody's
the Band-Aid
pulled
off
the
at this
Band-Aid
point.
off, right, yeah.
But, they may come out and surprise some people, but I just don't think the way the teams have played, just throw away the preseason expectations. When you look at the way the teams have played this year, it's in Columbus. There's no reason to think that Penn State could really win or even come close to covering this, I think. So I am making a lock for Ohio State to cover the 20.5 points. Okay, next one. Rutgers traveling to Champaign, Illinois to take on the Illini. Illinois is a 12.5 point favorite. Rutgers has been okay this year. Their defense is actually really, really bad. Probably the first bad defense they've had under this coaching regime. Offense has been okay. Illinois has played really good this year. With the exception of that Indiana game, for the most part, they've played really good this year. I like how they're playing. Rutgers, I just think, as they go on in the season, they just don't have the depth. I don't think they can keep up with an Illinois team. I like Illinois to win by at least 2 touchdowns. The line is 12.5, and that's why I'm taking Illinois to cover 12.5 points, and I'm making it a Big Mountain ice cold lock.
You've often come out of the gate with a lock, and now you're 2 for 2 with locks.
Yeah.
Ohio State, Illinois, and two teams. I want to say you were super high on Ohio State. They are always good, but Illinois, a team you were very high on coming into the season, and against a team that you said just doesn't have a great defense. Were you a little surprised the line was? I mean, you're locking it, so yeah, you kind of like the line, but. Has it moved? Are you surprised by 12.5?
Well, like I said, I think Illinois. I'm slightly surprised by 12.5. I really thought the line would be like 14.5.
Yeah,
and then it was going to be kind of hard for me one way or the other. I probably would have still picked Illinois.
Right.
I definitely wouldn't have locked it, but it being under the 14, I really like it.
Okay.
And that's why I went with the lock.
Okay. Well, you're going to another team here next that you also have liked for the last 2 seasons.
Yep.
Even pre-season of last year,
Yes.
you have liked this next team.
Yeah, every time I pick this team, I always think back to going into last season when I projected them to win, I think, 9 or 10 games, and everyone thought I was crazy. And they've just continued to show week after week, 2 seasons in a row. They've had a couple times they didn't cover, but it was usually some kind of weird thing.
Right.
I think a couple weeks ago they didn't cover. There was a long rain delay, like a 3-hour rain delay. They came back out and basically just tried to sit on the ball and end the game.
Yeah.
But Indiana's traveling to Maryland, not a huge long road trip. To a Maryland team they've overachieved a little bit this year. Malik Washington has been pretty good. But I'm taking Indiana to cover the 21.5, and I'm making this my third Big Mountain ice cold lock. I just think, Indiana is absolutely rolling right now. They're taking no prisoners. Everything on this team is just going well. The offense, the defense, everything. They're just firing on all cylinders. They are an absolute juggernaut in my mind. I've had them for the last month or so in the number 1 spot in our Big Mountain Power Rankings.
Yep.
They're just really not taking any mercy on anyone. Nope. And I think Maryland will, with that quarterback, they'll have a couple good plays.
Yeah.
But Indiana's defensive line, they made Altmaier look like a freshman.
Yes.
They, Nico, was it this last week or the week before? He had been having a really good string of games.
Yeah.
And they were just all over him from the very beginning and made him look very pedestrian, back to what he was looking like early in the season. The pass rush, I mean, honestly, Indiana's not known for this, but their front 7, they stack up with any front 7 in the Big Ten and the SEC. Like the way they can get the pressure on the quarterbacks and force quarterbacks into bad decisions does not bode well for freshman Malik Washington.
Right.
So yeah, I'm taking Indiana to cover the 21.5. It's my third Big Mountain ice cold lock, and honestly, I mean, I like them to win. I like Indiana to win by 30 plus.
Well, you showed me a graphic about teams that have beaten the spread, and Indiana was number 1, but in terms of points over the spread so far this year. Was it 99?
99
points that they've beaten the spread by so far this year. And shout out, the Aztecs, I believe, were number 2 on that
2
list.
or 3,
But man, that was incredible. I went, holy cow. I knew they had been doing well this year, but beating the spread. This isn't margin of victory. This is beating the spread by 99 points.
Well, one of the Illinois game, they beat the spread by like 40. So
Yes. That's a big
helps.
chunk of it.
Yes, but I think it's a combination of they've been performing amazing, and still coming in this year, they were disrespected just again by Vegas and the national media. So I think, the lines have been probably lower than they should be, and they are just performing. I mean, they're just firing on all cylinders.
Well, Mike DeMichael says that you're going wild. He says, restrain, my man, restrain. Oh, restrain the man. I'm not holding him back.
No.
I've told you all that before. I am not holding him back. And Hard Rockin' says, you're on an ice cold roll, and I don't think you're stopping if I'm remembering correctly.
Let's keep it rolling.
Okay.
All right.
Keep it rolling with the Black Tooth Golden Ale for my good, wonderful Wyoming Cowboys.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
All right. So my next one here. This is an exciting game, let me tell you. Michigan State Spartans are traveling to play the Minnesota Golden Gophers. I think we may have a Golden Gopher fan that's usually in the live show. I'm not sure if he's here tonight. Minnie's they've been about what I expected this year. They've had a couple losses that you're like, oh, really? Like that Cal loss was kind of weird. But overall, I think they've overperformed. They just beat Nebraska recently. Right. Let's see. The line here is 3.5. They're 3.5 point favorites. I think that's. I would have probably made this game about 6.5 to 7.5. Yeah. I think Minnesota wins by a touchdown. I'm going to go ahead and take Minnesota to cover the 3.5, and I'm going to make it a Big Mountain ice cold lock. I just think they're the better team. It's at home. Minnie plays really well at home.
Yes.
In Michigan State, I really expected them to take the next step this year. Mm-hmm. Both, the team and the quarterback, Aiden Childs. We really haven't seen that. There's been little flashes of that this year, but they've kind of continued to be a bit of a dysfunctional team to the point where people are maybe putting John Smith as the quarterback. As the coach.
Yep.
Putting him on the hot seat as a potential. He might be out of here this year. I think Michigan State will have some sparks in this game. They might have like Aiden throw a 70-yard touchdown or something like that, but they just don't have the consistent enough play.
Yeah.
And if Minnesota is anything, they are consistent.
Yeah.
Their offense just kind of keeps moving the ball. Defense plays well. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They're really good with like clock management, time management, just keeping the ball. And I think Minnie wins by a touchdown, and that's why I took them to cover the 3.5. And I made it my 4th Big Mountain ice cold lock of the week.
4 in a row is right. And yes, maybe I'm a little surprised. I don't follow the Big Ten, but Jonathan Smith's only been there for a year and a half for crying out loud. And I saw a thing today. They were listing coaches on the hot seat, and he was right in the middle of the pack. Fickle was obviously at the top. There was a couple more ahead of him, but he was in there. And I'm like, the dude just got. I mean, I know that's gonna make one of our dwellers very happy, but. I was a little surprised to see that.
I think the thing is so we're halfway through his second season. Like you said, he's been here 1.5. But there's been almost like no progress whatsoever.
Right.
And you'd think you had a young quarterback who was very talented. Nobody really had high expectations last year. I don't think anybody that was reasonable had real high expectations. But you want to see this year some kind of progress. The quarterback playing better, the team playing better. And I think that's probably what's... I kind of think he'll be given another year. Yeah. Unless they totally bomb out the rest of the season. But honestly, they've just been inconsistent and underperforming.
Okay. Well, Steve, you are 4 for 4, and you only have 2 Big Ten picks left. Yeah. I don't know if you have any more in you, but I'm anxious to hear the next game.
Well, the Purdue Boilermakers are traveling to Ann Arbor, Michigan to take on the Wolverines in the Big House. Michigan is a 21.5 point favorite. I really think that Michigan is a 3 to 4 touchdown better team than Purdue. Mm-hmm. However, I am going to take Michigan to cover the 21.5, but I'm not locking them. Michigan's burned me a couple times this year. They have the talent, I think, to beat Purdue by 30 points, but it really depends on, again, like we talked about, do they unleash Bryce Underwood? Right. Do they play a safe game? Just run the ball, because they could beat Purdue any of those ways that they want to. Purdue probably give them a little bit of a fight at some point, but Michigan should easily win this game. But I don't trust them enough to lock them again. Sure. Because they could have a dominant performance and win 17-3. Yeah. And which means obviously they don't come close to covering. Yeah. So I'm taking Michigan to cover the 21.5, but I'm not locking it. Probably not going to bet that one myself.
Okay. Yeah, little high, I think, to bet. But I absolutely could see Michigan covering. They're playing better than I think you and I both expected them to this season. So good on that program if you like the blue.
Yeah.
All right, Steve, you got one more.
One more Big Ten.
Yeah.
And then I got 3 other picks.
Yep, okay.
Drop on our dwellers.
I love it. 3 other picks.
3 other picks. Yeah.
I love it. All ACC picks.
Yes, all ACC.
I kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit, but there are 3 ACC picks.
Well, my last Big Ten is the Trojans of USC are traveling to Lincoln, Nebraska to take on the Huskers. We've seen Matt Rule in the news a bunch. He's been looking at Penn State was potentially looking at him to fill their position. They've lost a couple games. So, but then Nebraska came through, gave him an extension. We just saw that news. Hopefully, you'd think if you're a Husker fan, that gives them a little momentum. Okay, we can still finish the season pretty strong. But I'm taking USC to cover the 6.5 points there. I think USC wins by probably just over a touchdown, like 8 to 11 points, something like that. So I'm not going to lock this one. All right, there's another Big Ten I'm not going to lock, but I am going to take USC to cover that 6.5. And I actually got this at one point. USC was a 5.5 point favorite, and I bet that. I think I might put some more money at 6.5.
Okay.
Because I like that line as well. I really like USC to win over the touchdown mark. So.
Yep. Okay. Sargent is in the house. Sargent says, "Go USC and lock it." I was close. Nebraska's coming off a disappointing game.
Yes.
And USC, I think they wish they had one more win on their slate right now than what they have, but still hanging around there.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So that's the end of my Big Ten picks. Like JY mentioned, I got 3 ACC picks here.
Yep.
I'm going back. I kind of stopped for a while picking Clemson and Florida State, but I need to get back on the horse.
Okay, so Big Mama needs to listen up.
Yeah, listen up, Big Mama. So first of all, Duke at Clemson. Big Mama's not going to like this game, this pick. I was really surprised. Clemson is a 2.5 point favorite.
Yep.
It is in their house.
Yep.
But I'm taking Duke plus 2.5. At best, I have this game as a coin flip.
Okay.
But I would probably make Duke a 2 to 3 point favorite on this. So I can get those points. I like getting those points. Not quite the field goal points, but I'm taking Duke plus 2.5. Clemson has gotten things working a little bit.
Yeah.
But mostly that's been against teams that were just not very good.
Yes.
That were well below them in talent level. They've underperformed when they've played good teams this year, or just even solid teams.
Yep.
So I'm taking Duke and I'm taking the points because I think this is really more of a coin flip game. So I'm taking Duke plus 2.5.
Well, I was surprised. I knew Clemson. You've picked them there kind of in the beginning of the season, kind of got away from it, and I knew they had some disappointing losses this year. But I looked today; they're 3-4.
Yeah,
they're under 500.
Yeah.
I kind of didn't realize that. I thought they were. I was thinking maybe 4-3.
No, they lost a bunch.
They're not doing what some. I mean, I picked them to win the ACC for crying out loud. Not that I know anything about the ACC, but sorry, Big Mama, we're crapping on you.
Yeah.
All right, next up.
Okay, next up here, Wake Forest at Florida State. Okay, I've gotten burned so many times in the last 2 years by taking Florida State. I really do think Florida State is the better team. Wake Forest is not very good. I think Florida State probably wins this game. They should win this game. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take Wake Forest plus 9.5 points. If you can bet against Florida State here right now and get 9.5 points, you got to do it every day. So I'm going to do it. I'm taking Wake Forest plus 9.5.
All right. So I actually put your picks on a sheet.
Yeah.
And I guessed everything you were going to pick. And I went 6 for 6 on
the Big Ten.
On the Big Ten picks. I got them all right. I didn't know which ones you were going to lock.
Yeah.
I didn't guess that. But I guessed which way you were going to go. And I was 6 for 6 on them. And you picked all the favorites in the Big Ten.
This week, yeah.
Yes, this week. So I got that. And then in the other picks, I was 0-3.
Okay.
I thought you were going to go Clemson, FSU, and this last one I didn't get right either. Just because, I hear what you're saying with FSU, and you have been burnt way too much. Last year, it was
lighting money on fire.
It was like playing the roulette wheel when it's come up. I think I've used this analogy before. 20 times on black.
And you're been red.
It's going to go red one of these days. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, that's not the case in this pick as much. But last year you were, you were on tilt just a bit, I think.
You're not wrong.
Okay.
Okay. So my ninth pick here of the day, third out of the Big Ten, involves the team that I think is the best team in the ACC, and I don't think it's really that close. A team that I just Haynes King. When we're talking about Georgia Tech, Haynes King, the quarterback.
Yep.
Now he got beat up in this last game. He said he was peeing blood for 2 or 3 days after the game. That's never good.
No, you don't want to do that.
No, but he is expected to play and be okay. Just a tough dude. So Georgia Tech is traveling to North Carolina State. I'm taking Georgia Tech to cover the 5.5.
Okay.
I think they win this game by double digits. I again came close to locking this, but I usually mostly stay away from locking games out of the Big Ten. But I think Georgia Tech is the better team. I think they have the perfect quarterback and leader for that team in Haynes King. So unless somebody knows some news, when I looked last, he's fully expected to play and be fine and everything.
Okay.
So I'm taking Georgia Tech to cover the 5.5. I feel real good about that. And I just feel like Georgia Tech is they're cruising. To me, they're cruising into the ACC championship game. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But I don't think and Haynes King and the players on the team, they have so much determination. They're like one of those teams, they just do whatever it takes to win.
Right.
Run the ball, throw the ball, play tough defense, do whatever they got to do to win. And I'm really excited actually to watch the last game of the season for them. Georgia Tech will play Georgia. They always do that. Last year they gave Georgia everything they could handle down to overtime. And I think Georgia Tech may win that game this year. But for this week, I'm taking Georgia Tech to cover the 5.5 over North Carolina State.
There you go. 3 ACC picks. Duke with the points. Wake Forest with the points. Georgia Tech giving 5.5. And I agree with you on that Georgia Tech pick. I wasn't. You don't usually pick. You don't go a lot of other picks.
Right.
But when I saw that, I was intrigued because I also like that line in that game. So we've got a score of 24-6 UTSA taking it to Tulane, a 6-1 Tulane team, and a loss here to UTSA pretty much says they're not going to make the CFP and they probably won't make the American Championship game.
I want to give a little spoiler about our G6 conversation.
Go ahead.
Because people should watch that video. We gave our rankings and talked a lot about G6 teams. And what's funny is Tulane, we had them number 4. They have a fantastic record with their only loss to Ole Miss.
Yep.
And spoiler alert, we had them number 4 in our rankings, so we're not going to tell you what the other ones were. But I was thinking, and I almost brought it up during the episode, it's funny because Tulane's had a really good record, and we've never really talked about them this season. I think at the very preseason, I picked Tulane to win.
Yeah.
But as we've seen, I've watched a lot of American this year for whatever reason, and when you just watch Memphis play, you watch USF play, Tulane is just not on their level. So it doesn't surprise, to see them lose to it. If they end up losing to UTSA, won't surprise me.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to get into my pick, Steve, and then we'll talk a little bit about the trip I was on. Again, we are drinking the Golden Nail from Blacktooth Brewery in Wyoming.
Boom.
Thanks to the Wyoming Cowboys, I can enjoy another Dweller Brew. We also have the 2 Texan Dweller Brews from Tarleton State. Okay. Going here, we've got Air Force and Army. This game is going to be over in Colorado at Air Force there. And I'm interested in this game. I think Air Force is finally maybe turning the corner a bit to get some wins. We all know they have a good offense. We know they can't do some things on defense. Yeah. And the main thing they can't do is stop the air attack.
Yeah, they can't defend the forward pass.
They can't anything over 10 yards. Yeah. Yes. Long balls they struggle with. Well, fortunately here for them, Army doesn't throw the ball very much. I didn't write it down. I did look at the stats. Their quarterback is kind of that traditional service academy quarterback where they're running the option. They don't throw the ball very much at all. And the line here, only 1.5. I'm going to take the home team, who is the underdog, at plus 1.5. I think Air Force gets another win on their record. I think it's too much offense in this game that Army's not going to be able to, kind of go back and forth with, like we saw the Air Force UNLV game. It was like whoever has the ball last is going to win the game. I think Air Force is just going to score too many points in this game. And I also think they're going to score enough points to be over 24.5. So I'm also taking Air Force to be over 24.5. I think they score 30 points. I know that's shocking because typically Service Academy games are low scoring, but I went over in the Navy Air Force game, and guess what? They blew it out of the water. And I didn't take the over for the whole game here because I'm not sure Army is going to score enough. I do think Air Force scores at least 4 touchdowns. I think they get to 28. Again, 31 points to me is not out of the realm of possibility. So, again, I got Air Force 1.5 and over 24.5. I'm going heavy Air Force this week, Steve.
I like them, and honestly, I think Vegas is nuts with this line. I was shocked by this line.
I was too.
Have they watched any Air Force and Army games, or did they just look at final scores or win-loss column? I don't know. Yeah, and like you said, Air Force, they can throw. Their offense is very balanced. They can throw the ball. They can run the ball. Army wants to run the ball, and they run the ball okay.
Yeah.
Not really the standard of service academies over the years.
Right.
And like you said, Air Force's pass defense is poor. I mean, they're bad. They're just bad pass defense. But we were in the booth for the Navy game, and they held up just fine. Against the run. I mean, it wasn't spectacular. It's hard to stop a service academy from running the ball at all. But I thought they held up fine against Navy's run game. It was really that passing game by Navy that was putting them on their heels.
Well, the kid had a record-breaking day.
Yeah, the receiver and quarterback set some records. Yeah. So I was shocked, absolutely shocked by this line. I agree with everything you said. I would just be like more forceful, like
You'd lock it? Is that what you're saying?
I would probably lock it, and I think Air Force wins this game by double digits.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was very surprised when this line came out early. I couldn't believe it was a pick'em game. And yeah, I'm with you. I think maybe people were just they're not watching the games. I don't think. Unless you watch Air Force, you just think this is a normal Air Force team, or at least a normal Air Force offense. This is anything but a normal Air Force offense with Zarka at quarterback. All right, let's go to the next one. We got some big games here, Steve. I really am looking forward to these in-conference games this week. We've got New Mexico traveling to UNLV. We talked about this briefly on that G6 ranking episode. I think this shapes up to be a really good game here. I like where the Lobos are at coming off a very decisive win against the Utah State Aggies, where they just did not give Bryson Barnes any time to do anything, throw or run the ball. And I like where the Lobos are at now. I just haven't seen the progress in the defense of UNLV. Yeah, they're going to score points. I get that. But I'm going to take the points here, 3.5. It's a very close line, and I think rightfully so. I wouldn't be surprised UNLV covers, but I just feel a little more confident where Jason Eck has this team. I was blown away by the defense against Utah State last week, and that really is what has me picking UNM here. Is that game? I watched that game. They were super impressive against the Aggies. So I'm going UNM plus 3.5 in what I think is going to be a pretty close game. But again, with UNLV and that offense, they can be pretty quick, strike pretty quick. So I'm anxious for this game. I think it'll be a good one.
Yeah, so I really have no idea which way to go on this. New Mexico, the Lobos have continued to me, overperform. UNLV's they've been just basically what they've been, a very good team, good offense with just a defense that hasn't gotten its come together.
Yeah.
For me, you're picking the game. For me, I look at this as more of this is kind of the next test for UNLV. We all thought that they would lose to Boise. Even some of our biggest UNLV fans thought they would lose to Boise.
Yeah.
But to me, this is going to show us, are they going to have like an 11-1 season and be like the heir apparent in the Mountain West? Like, also getting their name mentioned for a possible playoff spot, all that kind of stuff. Or is the defense has struggled so much? Is this the point where the defense finally lets this team down? And do they kind of stumble to like an 8-win, 8-4, maybe even 9-3 season? I think this game is going to tell us a lot about how UNLV ends the season.
Yeah, coming off again, they lost to Boise. Yep. They're off of a bye week to try and adjust things. If it doesn't happen, you're 100% correct. And Tyler's asking about NDSU moving No new news on that. It's been really quiet for anything that I've been getting, outside of just what Gloria Navarez said at the basketball media days, which is the same thing she has been saying. I would almost say it's even less. It was less interesting, if you want to call it that, in terms of we're on a pause. We're like they're really
slowing things down.
They're slowing things down. So, Tyler, as of now, no new news. I haven't heard anything. And really, I haven't heard a whole lot from anybody on any conference realignment stuff. As you know, we were on the Texas State stuff really early. At the same time, I dropped St. Mary's. That's gone hush-hush. Not saying it won't happen, but I have not had any new news on that. The only thing that I know is happening is with the United, the WAC, who's going to be the United now. They just added Little Rock. They're going to add 2 more members very, very soon. And the Ohio Valley is going to be in trouble. So that part I know. Outside of that, I don't have much new news on really anybody.
I did see, was it Utah Tech is going to be playing baseball in the Mountain
Men's
West?
soccer and baseball.
Men's soccer, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, in the Mountain West, adding men's soccer and baseball. So that's pretty cool.
Someone in here asked about James Franklin to Virginia Tech. We've definitely seen a lot of smoke about that in the last 24 to 48 hours. Yeah. It looks like there's nothing official, nothing's totally done. There were a couple accounts that I would consider maybe like a little more clickbaity that were kind of putting it out there like it was a done deal.
Yeah.
And it may happen when on X. I haven't talked much about the coaching stuff with Penn State, James Franklin on our show.
Right.
I did say on X a little while ago that I thought his top places that he could land would be Virginia Tech, UNC, or Florida State, or possibly UCLA. So I had Virginia Tech right up there. It makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. The one thing that cautions me, you and I talked about this off air, Brent Pry just got fired from Virginia Tech, and he's one of James Franklin's best friends. They coached together for a long time, so I don't know if there would be any bad blood there or anything. With that would be one thing that would kind of caution me, and maybe that he would want to wait and see what other jobs. I think he'd be very interested in the Florida State job.
Yeah.
And that is not open yet. And they said they're not going to make a decision on that till the end of the season.
Yeah.
So if he were to take Virginia Tech now, that would preclude him from then taking what might be his dream job in Florida State. So we'll see, but I think there's a lot of smoke there. And honestly, it makes a lot of geographic sense if he's still in the same geographic recruiting footprint at Virginia Tech.
I agree. I think Virginia Tech makes a ton of sense for both sides. All right, let's get to the next game. Fresno State at Boise State. Boise winning their last game. Fresno State being shut out in their last game against the Aztecs. I'll be picking the Aztec game here next. But the line here, 17.5. This Broncos offense, maybe not quite as good as fans were kind of hoping for. Maddox has certainly not been quite on par to what they were hoping for. But I've got to take Boise State here at minus 17.5. They're on the blue. Fresno State continuing struggles to score points. They made a quarterback change. We'll see if that kid now in his second game plays any better, but he's playing against Boise State in Boise State.
It's rough.
Not a good way to kind of start. He had the best, if you want to say, defense in start number 1. Now he's got to go to start number 2 and play in Boise State. Not an easy situation for this kid. And I think Boise has to start rolling here. Like, if Boise is going to be the Mountain West champion again, now's the time they got to get this sucker rolling. I know their season, they should be able to make the Mountain West championship game, but they got to get this offense going. It just hasn't been going real well for them. And I think Fresno, they started 5-1, and I caution people, wait to the second half of the season, and it's starting. It doesn't mean it's going to end bad, but it's starting where they might eke out a 6-6 record at this point. So I got to take Boise here minus 17.5.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense, and Fresno State they started good. Surprisingly, probably better than we thought.
Yeah.
They've kind of come back to earth a little bit, and they need a game where they can really get it going again. And this is a really rough run for them at Boise on the blue carpet.
Yes, for sure. All right, let's go to, I was talking about the Aztecs. So we've got Wyoming traveling down to San Diego State. The line here, 10.5. I think this is a low-scoring game. I think this is, everybody knows how good the Aztec defensive is. They're ranked within different FBS categories throughout the country in terms of their defense. Wyoming is a very good defense. I don't know if they're as good as San Diego State, but they're a very good defense, underrated. They shut out CSU last week in the border war. I know CSU, they're struggling right now, but that was their second shutout on the season for the Cowboys. Their secondary is looking better and better. And they just made an offensive change here in terms of the coach. Mm-hmm. So Bo Knight's now play calling. I loved what he did in the first half there in the border war. So being that this is a low scoring game and the line is 10.5, I have to take the points with the Cowboys. This line's too big for, I think the overall point total here was like 41 and a half. Mm-hmm. Or if you're talking 41 points in a game and you're going to give me 10 against two teams that have pretty good defenses, I'm going to take those 10 points every time. And I think the Cowboys are able to make this close and close enough to maybe eke out a win at the end of the game. That's a tall task, the way San Diego State's playing right now, the way their defense is playing right now. But too many points for me to give up, Steve. And this isn't a homer pick. Yeah. As we said, I don't pick Cowboy games based on me liking the Cowboys. I try to keep that bias out of it. So I'm taking the points. Am I too? Is that too much?
I can never blame someone for taking 10.5. I mean, it's just a juicy amount of points.
It seems juicy.
Yeah, for teams that are not that far apart. So I mean, I don't blame you for taking that many points. For me, again, looking beyond just the pick in this game, it's really interesting for me. The San Diego State defense, who's been awesome.
Yeah.
Against Wyoming, who has a new offensive coordinator, new play caller.
Right.
They seem to kind of come to life. Can they keep that life going? Can they keep that heart rate going, that pulse going? Or does San Diego State, are they able to kind of stifle them like they've done to a lot of people? So that matchup right there is what's really interesting to me.
Yeah. Yep. I like that line. Yeah, I was thinking about maybe taking the under, but when you're down in the low 40s, that's a hard pick. It's down where it needs to be. So I can't pick the under, but I do think this is a very low scoring game. So let's get to Hawaii and San Jose State, a game that I do not think is going to be a low-scoring game, because this is two of the best offenses in the Mountain West, especially when you're talking passing offenses. In my opinion, the two best passing offenses in the Mountain West. Without a doubt, Hawaii, San Jose State, Walker Eget, Mike Alejado, amazing passing offenses here. So I think a lot of points are going to be scored in this game. Hawaii is, in my opinion, surprisingly the underdog in this game. I think they're still being somewhat disrespected across the country, disrespected by Vegas. I know what they have historically been, that Jekyll and Hyde, they can cover at home and they can't cover away. They've already broken that a little bit this year away, winning some of these games. And San Jose State, they just can't get things figured out right now. I think this is close, but I just like where Hawaii's at here a lot more. So I'm going to take the 1.5 points with the Rainbow Warriors here against San Jose State. I'm also going to take Hawaii over 27.5. I like them to be at 4 or 5 touchdowns here in this game. So I got 2 picks on Hawaii, like I did with Air Force. I've got the plus 1.5 for Hawaii and over 27.5 for Hawaii as well. I screwed up the slide.
Yeah, it is what it is. It happens sometimes.
Well, let me check the slide, because there's no way. There has to be a typo. There's no way Vegas has Hawaii 17. At 17.5. I think that's right. But I'll double. You talk, Stevie, okay. and I will double check my typo.
Yeah, honestly, I see this as a game that's going to be like a 37-33 type of game.
Yeah.
Not much defense, a lot of offense. And I think there's something to what you said. Vegas just always doubts Hawaii because they have a long history of underperforming when they have to fly over the Pacific to go anywhere. And so I think that's kind of affecting the line there. San Jose State being at home, but I like this as a high scoring game for both. Yeah, and I think it's mostly a coin flip game. I would probably make Hawaii the slight favorite though as well.
Yes, and it is 27.5. So my bad on the typo. I'm still taking the over. Just over points on Hawaii. I like them scoring 30 plus. Again, I'm talking similar to Hawaii as I talked about Air Force. I like them equally as well, scoring a lot of points and covering here in this game. So the last one, I see there's a question about Tarleton. We'll get to that in a minute, William Davis. So the last one is an out-of-state. Why is my thing ringing? Okay. The last one is an out-of-conference game. Of course, I have to pick the one of two Pac-12 games here. We've got the first of two, Washington State, Oregon State. This one being played in Corvallis. And the line here, surprisingly, 3.5. I said last week when I picked Washington State, I thought the line was stupid at 1.5. And I said, I don't lock anymore, but if I lock, I would lock this. And they blew it out of the water. They won by 17 or something like that.
Who are they playing?
I don't even know.
Yeah. No.
System Area of the Poor. It doesn't matter. They completely annihilated the line. Was it Toledo? Maybe it was Toledo. I think it was Toledo. But again, 3.5. I don't understand this line. Washington State just playing far better football right now. And I got to take the Cougs minus 3.5. I'm not going to lock it because, again, I don't do that anymore. I actually thought about locking some games this week. I'm like, maybe I'll get back on that horse. And I said, no, that horse is dead.
Dip the toe back in the water a little bit.
No, I made the glue out of that damn horse. All right. Now I'm being rough. Sorry, any horse lovers. I apologize. Go ahead.
Well, I want to say, I really think Vegas, because of the current situation of the pack, and because both teams haven't been real good this year either way, I think Vegas just kind of looks at these two teams like they're the same thing.
Yeah.
They're just the same.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah, right. Like they don't look at one being a lot better than the other or whatever. And honestly, the line they put out a 3.5. It could have been a 2.5, a 3.5. That's probably the only line I think where you could get a lot of people to bet it because most people just look at them as the same thing.
Sure,
unless you're a Beavs fan or a Cougs fan or you're really following. So I think the line is more about that. Just they're not paying attention. They just look at those teams as just basically being almost the same thing. So I like your pick. That's just my perception of how both Vegas and the national media look at those teams right now.
I think that's a very fair statement. But Tyler thinks Oregon State will pull it out with the dub there. But Hard Rockin' thinks I should lock it with Washington State. So I'm not, but I am going to pick it. So I did 1, 2, 3. I did 4 underdogs and 2 faves in my picks. Yeah. So anyway, all right. With that, let's go through a couple quick pictures of my trip. We're going to hit Tarleton State first. So it was their homecoming, Steve. And on Friday night, they have this massive bonfire, the biggest bonfire it's either Texas or the U.S. or something crazy.
Because they're an A&M school.
They're an A&M school.
Yes,
they're an A&M school. So we got a picture here, and you would see most of this Tarleton stuff you probably would have seen if you watched our facility tour. If you didn't see our facility tour, go back and check it out. It's really cool. I had David Martin show us around. You can hear his voice. He talks about both the EECU Center, the basketball facilities, weight training facilities, and some other stuff. But we got the bonfire. There it is. It was unbelievably big. Like, you can see the people there. And I'll tell you, most of my trip I went, wow, pictures don't do, for wherever I was.
Yeah.
Pictures just don't do things justice, like when you're standing there. This thing is freaking massive. It's made out of pallets along the outside, and then they throw, I don't know, Lord knows what in the inside.
Yeah.
And let's just use, they use a little juice as well.
Oh, yeah.
And there she is. There she is up in smoke. And actually, it was pretty windy that night. And it may have caught a few trees on fire beside it.
Looks like a conflagration.
A what? Okay. It was big, and it was really hot.
Yeah.
Really hot. I mean, that heat went for a long, long ways. So that was a lot of fun. I met the Purple Poo there. I learned a lot about the traditions at Tarleton State. They have tons of traditions, and not like hokey, like, oh, we do this, like legit long-standing traditions.
Yes.
The Purple Poo this is like I know it's a funny name.
Yeah.
It's the oldest standing student organization. And they just go around and you know, they celebrate the school, and they go to all the athletic events, and what do you call them? They're the pep squad, if you will, right? They're kind of the pep squad. And they all have masks. There's 20 of them. So anyway, you can see some pictures of those guys and girls. But that was really cool. I got to meet them. The Plowboys is another group they have there. They got their chaps on. The Plowboys are who actually helped build this. Yeah, over weeks and weeks and weeks it takes them. So that was cool. Then I got to the football stadium. Of course, it was a sellout. Homecoming versus West Georgia. I thought it was going to be a pretty good game. I think most people kind of thought it was. I think West Georgia came in 5-2, if I remember. But the Texans steamrolled this team. I mean, it wasn't close. They steamrolled them. But that was a lot of fun. We were all over the place. I got to meet all kinds of people. Met some dwellers. Gave out some of our swag to all of them. Met the band director there. Shot off the cannon, Steve. You saw the video. I gave it a yippee. And so that was a lot of fun. And then after the football game, no, I'm sorry. No, it was the day before. But anyway, they gave us a tour of the EECU Center, which they've only had a few events there. Actually, I don't even think they had a basketball game. The basketball game was going to be on Sunday, which we weren't able to stick around for. But they had a concert in there. I don't remember who, but they had a concert in there with big fireballs and all kinds of stuff, apparently. But it is a really, really neat facility, much larger than what they would have had before. Obviously, two tiers. Every seat in that thing is, you know, like stadium seating with the armchair rails and all that kind of stuff. Like no bleacher seating or anything like that. Loge and all that special perky stuff. So that was very, very cool. And they did it great, man. They showed me everywhere. So that was Tarleton. Any questions about Tarleton?
Yeah, well, I enjoyed watching your pictures and things flow in, and obviously our producer did some good work with the stuff that you sent him.
He crushed it.
Whoop whoop PWB Productions. So I honestly just looked like an awesome visit.
It was a very cool visit. So I want to get to William's question. Did you ask the Tarleton administration about moving up to FBS during your visit? If so, did they say they would accept any invite to any conference? They should say no to Conference USA. We had discussions. I can't talk about some of that, William. I can tell you they are building for an invite. They want to move to FBS. I don't think that's a secret to anybody. I mean, we had Steve Urias on, and he pretty much said, yep, we're ready to go. We want to go. Like, we want to go to the next level. I'm not going to get into the conference thing at this point. I can't tell you what they will or won't do. But yes, their goal is to move up to FBS. And I don't think they have a time frame. I've seen some fans say kind of like, hey, I'd like us just to remain in FCS for a few years. Now, remember, they just moved up from D2. This is only year 2, I believe, that they're even eligible for the postseason right now. So some fans are kind of like, hey, we know we're good, and yes, we want to get there, but let's just kind of like, let's slow down just a little bit. I would just say that for an FBS invite, as we're seeing, not just for Tarleton, but for everybody. I mean, Tyler was talking about North Dakota State. In my opinion, if a school wants to move up and they get an invite, it would be very difficult to say no, expecting another to come in a few years from either the same conference or another conference. Like, you gotta join the group. And then when you're in the group, maybe you can move around within that group. But as we're seeing, that hurdle to get from FCS to FBS right now is a hard hurdle to cross. So I think it'd be hard for any school, Tarleton or anybody, to turn down an FBS offer. Yes. That's my, I don't know. I mean, that's all I'm really going to say about that at this point. But what are your thoughts?
So I have a few thoughts there, and I don't have all of the inside information that you do, so I can just speak on it. Because,
I would love you to.
Yeah. I think Tarleton State they're doing everything right. They are the no-brainer. Them with North Dakota State and maybe South Dakota State are the no-brainers. Need to go up to FBS. They need to be the next 3 teams for sure, I think. especially I would say Tarleton and North Dakota State are on a real high level there. As far as should they turn down a Conference USA spot, here's the thing: I would much rather see them getting Mountain West spot. I think they would be really good for the Mountain West, and I think the Mountain West could help themselves a ton by bringing in Tarleton. But if they get an invite to Conference USA, they've got to take it. You cannot turn that down because the way governance is changing, we're getting close to that 2030 where there's probably going to be a lot of things, a lot of movement and all that. If they get an opportunity to go in the FBS, they've got to take it, no matter what conference it is. Because they could go to Conference USA, be there 3, 4, 5 years, and then jump to a better, a different conference. So they absolutely have to take it because I really feel the time frame we're in, if you don't get into FBS by 2030, 2031, you may never get into that level, whatever that level is called going forward. If you're going to do it, now is the time to do it. I do like Tarleton's approach where they're keeping their head down, they're just doing what they got to do, and they're working for a bid. They're not publicly begging for a bid, but they're working for an FBS bid, for an invite from one of those conferences. So I think they're doing things right. They're doing a good job with that. But I don't want to see them in Conference USA. I don't. But if they get a Conference USA invite, they've got to take it 100%, no doubt. Anybody that thinks different, honestly, is just not understanding the full picture.
Yeah. Well, and I can tell you, they want, when they get the invite and when they get the questions asked, do you have A, B, C, D, E? They can say, yes. Check box as much as they. To your point, that's their goal. It's not about being bombastic about it and saying we want this. I mean, they have said that, but they want to prove it when they get the invite or the checklist. What do you have? They want to check as much as they possibly can.
Very smart.
Today and as soon into the future. The other thing was about the airport. Then that's correct. I don't know who answered the question about the airport, but it is. William said it. It's the Dallas-Fort Worth. That's where I flew in and out of, and it's about an hour and a half. It's not bad.
No,
it's a pretty easy drive, but it is the Dallas-Fort Worth airport. Steve, J1 Steve, who do you guys have for FCS football games? Who do we have for the championship football game? Is that what they're asking?
Or maybe just any games this week.
Picking game. Yeah, I should start doing that, Tyler, because FanDuel does now give FCS lines. So that's a great question, Tyler. Maybe we will start to do a little bit more of that. Tarleton to the SEC.
Yeah.
Go big or go home, baby.
The funny thing is when you look at it 30 years from now, that might actually make sense. They might be saying, well, SEC should have grabbed them then, because the way that school is growing is crazy.
Montana State, I did see that. Ron mentions Montana State Bobcats just announced a stadium upgrade for 2026. I did see the announcement there about that, so that's really cool for them. Both Montana State and Montana have some great fans. All right, let's get to the next one real quick. On my way up, so I'm from Dallas-Fort Worth up to Denver. I drove from Denver up into Wyoming, but I had a quick little side trip to Colorado State in Fort Collins because it's literally right beside the highway.
Beautiful there.
And I did my own little tour. I didn't ask for one because I didn't know what my timing and all that was going to be. The football stadium was unlocked, so I just showed myself in.
A lot of people don't realize that. Most football stadiums are unlocked so that people can just walk in.
Yeah, I kind of walked in.
Yeah.
So I am going to do an episode on CSU. It'll be pretty short because, I wasn't given a tour or anything like that, and I didn't really try to barge into places. But I did get into the stadium. Unfortunately, the sun was right above the daggone home side, and so I had to be kind of careful to
angles and all that.
Yeah, to not be totally blurred out. So I'll have more of this, but it is a beautiful stadium, nice, huge stadium that's fairly new there in Colorado State, and was able to just kind of walk around, see everything else there in Fort Collins. I also made my way up to New Belgium Brewery. Hint about another Dweller Brew coming. But anyway, so that was pretty cool too. All right, so that was that's all I'm going to show you at Fort Collins. Then I made my way up to Laramie, and was able to see a basketball game. They had an exhibition game there, Steve, and did that on Saturday. I think that was at 12:30. before the night game, football game for the Border War. Spent pretty much my whole Saturday there in Laramie, and it was phenomenal. And so I was inside the stadium. It was cool because they were playing ball. It wasn't just an empty stadium. And obviously it was an exhibition, so there wasn't a ton of people, as you can see there. Really, really nice stadium. Again, no bleacher seatings in there. They did, I think they said the internal here, the seats and stuff was done maybe 7-ish years ago.
It's a really neat looking arena.
Yeah, it's an older-ish arena, but they did, all the seating and all that stuff is new. And the concourse they had done maybe 8 years ago. I may have them flip-flop, something like that. But great seats. I watched the whole game, took some video of it. It was actually really, really cool. They played the College of Idaho, who is, they won the NAIA championship last year.
Okay.
The Pokes kind of smoked them.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't kind of smoke them. They smoked them.
Yeah.
The other cool thing was on my facility tour, I was able to sit down with Coach Sundance Wicks for about 5 to 10 minutes. Met him, talked about the team, talked about his son, whose name is Skywalker, because he's a huge Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
And anyway, so that was very, very cool. Then in terms of the football, I just choked on my saliva. Excuse me. In terms of the football stadium, I was up obviously in the press booth for the stadium. I did a live hit for pregame, and I think I did a halftime hit, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I did.
Yep.
Yeah, because then I got the post-game presser out the next day. But that's where I sat. They had me literally on the 50-yard line, Steve. Can't ask for much more than that.
No.
Redid the press box here, new press box, same space, but they completely basically gutted it and made it much, much nicer. So that was a great space. They took me on the other side is where they have the new kind of, I'm sorry, no, below me is the new loge area. I had some of that in the video that people will see here next week. And then across the way was some of the suite type of stuff. And you'll see pictures of all of that. But it was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful campus. They had the same type of brick, whether this building was built here 5 years ago or it has been there for decades. Same color, not same brick, but same color.
No,
they keep everything's matching. Beautiful campus, exactly what I was hoping for. Made it down to the field for the last 7-ish minutes. I got a pick down there, and then I posted a video of them going over and grabbing the boot, which was at the other end zone. I couldn't have asked for more. Shout out to Ryan Thorburn. He helped me kind of, it struck me where to go because I didn't really know.
He's our dude.
He helped me out a lot, and we had a lot of fun. Just a fantastic visit. I had expectations. I've seen the pictures, and I'm like, I want this to be cool, and it was phenomenal. That's the high altitude training facility, which it's super cool. Like got the chambers inside and all that kind of stuff. I will say there on the left, like you can see the main entrance. On the bottom left side of that or I guess on the left side, I guess it's the 2 stories, is the main football weight room. At the end of the game, I was standing kind of in the entrance area there, in the building, and you look over, and Coach Bowl, remember, everybody who should know Coach Bowl at this point, was standing in there, Craig Bowl, standing in there by himself, just taking it all in, kind of in the dark of the weight room, watching, the festivities of the team winning the Border War. Of course, his son is the DC. He coached with Savell for a while and all that. So it was cool to see Coach Bowl there, and they had plenty of other people there as well. It was a really, really cool experience and an absolutely beautiful campus. And I think that was it. Was that the last slide for Wyoming? Yeah. Any questions about? We're going to have our wonderful producer, and again, shout out because he crushed the Tarleton one. He's going to also do one for Wyoming because he's so freaking cool.
PWB Productions.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll throw a little kind of like behind the scenes thing.
Okay.
Is both? I think. We both love to do it to our producer. We love to just come up with ideas and just throw them at him, and he knocks them out of the park every time.
He crushed it. And then I went, hey, what happened to these slides? And it was, I didn't upload those slides.
So I did have a couple questions for you.
Yes.
Did you get to walk around downtown Laramie at all?
I did. Yes, good question. I did walk around, and I was there. I was there early on, and then I went to dinner, and then I went back because the band goes around town Friday evenings for home games.
Did you get any video of that for the...
I absolutely got video of it.
Wait.
It is fantastic. They
right.
sounded. They literally just go from bar to restaurant to bar and just right up the street. And I followed them for a few, and it was a lot of fun. They sounded great.
When are you getting your fall house in Laramie?
Dude, I'm telling you, I didn't want to leave. Yeah. I did not want to leave. Of everywhere I was at, nothing against Stephenville or Vega, I did not want to leave Wyoming. Beautiful, beautiful country.
And then my other question, give us an idea on, so like, can you walk from the stadium to like the bars in Laramie, or do you have to drive? Like,
you could. The band I think did.
Okay, yeah.
It's not right beside it, but it's they have pretty legit. I will say they have their indoor practice facility.
Yeah.
And for game days, they open it up and it's a full indoor experience. That's with cool. Like indoor tailgating type of stuff. Yeah. But it's more vendory. It's not individuals just parked in there. Like it's vendory, and they have food and drinks and all kinds of stuff. And then outside is where all your, tailgaters truly are.
Yeah.
But it's cool. They just open up their indoor facility.
That is
and
cool.
It's a complete indoor tailgate.
Very cool.
Yeah. But the bars themselves, being the guy that I am, I drive my butt to them.
Yeah.
But the kids could easily walk.
That's what I'm trying to
College
picture.
Kids could walk.
Do the fans just like, is like a stream down to...
No, you could. I don't know. They do everything at the tailgate, which is right outside of the stadium.
Cool.
So, all right. Last one then went to UNLV. Didn't know what I was going to get into, but I did get to the press conference for Dan Mullen. I got that posted up. Got in 2 questions to Coach Mullen. I got in 2 questions to the 2 players that were there. Really nice press conference that they had, and that was a lot of fun. Mark hooked us up again. He's the one that gave us the tour.
Mark is great.
And then he got me into the basketball game on Tuesday night. They had an exhibition game. I don't remember. Lincoln University. Okay, they also crushed Lincoln University.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of fun. Got to see 2 in-person Mountain West basketball games. I didn't think that was happening on this trip, and it happened. Got to see live basketball in the Thomas and Mack Center.
That is on my bucket list. I would love... You and I aren't real big basketball guys.
Yeah.
But that facility is amazing. And I have a lot of nostalgia for 90s, UNLV, Running Rebels, all those great teams of the past. I would love to see... we'll have to add that at some point to like maybe going to a tournament there, something there would be awesome.
Yeah, it was a really cool experience. The game again was a blowout. Yeah, but just to be there, I saw multiple dwellers at the game. I didn't see really any during the week, but man, I hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 that I got to meet there at the game, which was really, really cool. And again, I got to see a game in Thomas and Mack, which was awesome.
Very cool.
I got press credentials. I did a pregame kind of from a chair.
Yeah.
I was going to do a live halftime show with Jason Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
Who does the Let's Run podcast. Yeah. I had, unfortunately, multiple issues with what I didn't bring and also some other technical issues.
Gotcha.
I thought that would have been cool. He was there at the game. I said, hey, you want to collab real quick? And he's like, yeah. And then he came over and I completely failed. Yeah. So someday we'll get Jason back on the channel. But yeah, and a beautiful weather in Vegas. I'll tell you right now, I only want to go to Vegas outside of the media days when I can only go in July. October in Vegas is beautiful. Beautiful.
It'd be cool to have him. What was his name?
Jason.
Jason. I should know that name. Yeah. Have Jason there sometime, and maybe get Ricky Thompson. And have them together. The 4 of us do a Mountain West basketball season preview or something. Would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, Steven has talking about Wyoming, and welcome, Steven. He said he was a little late. He did another interview. He's doing a lot of really cool interviews, by the way. So check out. He gets a lot of neat guests coming in. Interviews, sometimes interviews the interviewee, and he just does a cool job with it. So that's really cool, Steven. And anxious to see who your next interview's with. But he said they have a good stadium environment, incredible stadium environment, beautiful stadium. They packed the place. The fans are totally into it. You almost have to say it's on campus because we're getting more and more off campus, but it's right smack dab where you want it to be. Easy to get in and out of. again, just it's a beautiful facility, and you've got that on the one side, and I've always seen pictures like, okay, this you got the stands, and then you've got like the scoreboard with the trees on the one side that makes it look like you're in the mountains, and then you got the high altitude center on the other side, which looks really, really cool. And I'm like, but what does that really look like in person? It looks just as cool. It looks better in person. I'm like, this layout is awesome. So, I am biased when it comes to that.
I'm excited. I mean, I didn't know anything about Wyoming before before we started doing a show, other than I liked their uniforms and I loved how their stadium looked when I would see it. A lot of times night games and stuff.
Yeah. So there it is. Make sure you check it out next week. We'll have the Wyoming facility tour up. I'll have a short Colorado State facility tour up, and we will be back to live episodes on Wednesday nights here next week. We also, Steve, the last thing I need to say is we've got to do another lawsuit episode.
Oh boy.
Because the Mountain West just came out with a 1-2-3 and really went to it on their counterclaims. And I have yet to read the details. Somebody told me it's 80-some pages.
Wow.
But you know how we roll. We're going to go deep. We're going to go heavy. I want to get your thoughts. You're going to get my thoughts. Unfortunately, it's a little bit later because I was away and we just haven't had time. But next week, we will get out our thoughts and opinions on and our breakdown of the facts on the Mountain West's counterclaims in the lawsuit against the Pac-12. The good old word fraud is used in the counterclaim. Ooh, salaciousness is coming. Oh, I think I just spit on you. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
All right, David Jorgensen's in there.
David Jorgensen, go Big Red. He's back. We were about to put out an APB on this guy. We haven't seen him in a long time. So welcome back, David Jorgensen.
Good to have you, and apologize, DJ, because we're ready to wrap it up. But you can go back and listen to all the different picks that Steve makes. He picks the USC Nebraska game, but I will wait and let you go back and listen to what that pick was. But he's giving you his condolences on Penn State's situation.
Yeah, DJ, I appreciate that, and we are getting ready to wrap up. But if you want to put a comment in there, I'll see it. I'm just interested on your thoughts of the whole Rule being a candidate to Penn State. Now he signs an extension, and anything you want to comment on that, DJ, I'll check out the comments in a little bit.
Cool. With that, we'll wrap this one up. Thank you guys for joining us on a special night. We still had about our normal viewers here tonight on a Thursday night. Go check out some live football. The Tulane UTSA looks like that should be a pretty good one, and it looked like Coastal was coming back on Marshall as well. So we got football on tonight. Go watch some football. With that, hey, smash the like button on the way out, and we'll see you next time.